We're going game by game here, starting with Thursday Night Football. Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored by 11.5. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Yeah. Like Armageddon. Don't want to miss a thing.
Don't want to miss a thing.
Hit the subscribe.
Aerosmith.
Bills by 11.5 here. So this game looked better, I think. Well, we weren't really high on the Dolphins coming into the season anyway, but looked better a couple years ago. This is one of those games, though, 2-0 Buffalo versus 0-2 Miami, where you say, okay, is it going to be that bad? Is it an automatic beatdown? You know, if this was in Miami in September, I would think maybe a little bit of a closer game. But Buffalo's depth is already being challenged. Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, both out on the defensive side. They've got a couple other guys banged up. What are your thoughts on this Thursday night football game here?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Miami reacts to that game because had they managed to find a way of winning that, I think they could have potentially sparked something. The offense did look much better. It was getting some stuff done. The defense obviously had been a complete disaster. But I'm kind of curious, does it all just disappear because they didn't? Because they found a way of losing the game, because Devon Achane, stepped just out of bounds, because the defense couldn't get a stop, all those things. Is it just nothing but pure bad vibes at this point? And if it is, like against Buffalo, who look like one of the best teams in the league, this could get ugly.
Yeah, you're dealing with a team in Buffalo leading the league. I mean, it's through 2 weeks. Take all the 2-week stats with a grain of salt, obviously. But number one,
they don't mean everything. It's
number one in points per game, 35.5, and the Dolphins second to last in point differential, -31. But it's early. And even though we weren't terribly high on the Dolphins, I think I'm seeing the odds in other places up to 12.5 here. They're 11.5 right now as of at FanDuel. Over under, by the way, 49.5, expecting a lot of points. I'm struggling to see how Miami's going to slow down the Buffalo Bills
at all
defensively.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of it, even when the Dolphins were at their best, even when they were doing a nice job against lesser teams, and the narrative that we would continue to push was, hey, the Dolphins beat up on bad teams. They struggle against good teams. And then Buffalo in particular did a really nice job compressing the middle of the field, taking away the throws that Tua would hit, those little quick in-cuts behind the linebackers. Buffalo did as good of a job as any team at taking those away, forcing turnovers from the Dolphins, basically the same way that Tua's been playing these last couple weeks. Buffalo made him do that in most of their matchups, in most of their games. So, yeah, Buffalo, I think, they match up well against the Dolphins. They match up well in Buffalo, and both teams seemingly moving in different directions.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's got a big point spread already, and it feels like it might not be enough. Buffalo's offense, I can't see a way the Dolphins even slow them down unless they do something dramatically different than they've been doing the first couple of weeks. Then you just go back to the other side of the ball and you say, well, can Tua have like a perfect game where he doesn't put the ball in harm's way, where they actually execute in rhythm? Devon Achane's going to need to make a couple of big plays as well. It basically comes down to, can that group of skill position players do anything to even keep the game close, or is it just going to be a one-sided beatdown?
Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action. Yeah, I'm mostly worried about Miami's defense. Slowing down Buffalo. I think their defensive front has not shown up to play, including the edge rushers, who we said on paper they should at least be good. Defensive tackles, they're young. They might be finding their way, along with Zach Sealer, but disappointed by Miami's defensive front. Buffalo's got that offensive line, the continuity up front. They ran the ball extremely well last week with James Cook. I think they could do that again. And they always have the break Josh Allen glass in case of emergency. This feels like one of those games where they could just kind of let him play, read it out from a pass game perspective, not lean into him in the run game a ton. Just let's hand it off, get the backs involved, and save a couple hits on Allen in this one. But then if they need to, if it's close, toward the end, you break out some Josh Allen run game.
Yeah. That's the thing. They've always got that in case it ever does get reasonably close. But honestly, it's hard to find a reason why this game should be close at all. Unfortunate though that is for Miami fans.
Jalen Waddle's banged up, but I keep coming back to that piece, which is in any given game, Tyreek Hill's still explosive. He showed that he can make some plays down the field last week. Jalen Waddle can make plays down the field if he's healthy and good to go. So that's always the equalizer for me with the Dolphins, is they can at least make plays down the field. And as I said, Buffalo's depth being challenged with Ed Oliver and Matt Milano out. Ironically, they brought in Shaq Thompson as a veteran linebacker depth. He's banged up as well. They loaded up on corners in the draft and in free agency. And they're just beat up in a couple different spots like they have been the last couple of years. But I don't know if that's going to be enough here.
No, I can't find a particularly good reason why it would be.
All right, man. 11.5 right now. Where are you going to go with this one?
Lines are already getting pretty big, double-digit lines, or at least in and around double digits in a few of these games. I honestly, even though that's a big line, it's a division game, I'm going with the Bills to cover it.
I'm also going to go with the Bills. I do have Harry's picks for the show here.
I think Buffalo wins by more than 12 points.
Yeah. Plus you get the short week. They're at home. The home field advantage with that. So yeah, I'll take Buffalo to cover, as will Harry. How do you feel when you agree with me now?
I mean, not great given your performance so far, but I think all of us are correct here. I've seen other people say this as well, that there's no line you could put on this game that I wouldn't take Buffalo.
Yeah. It is. I say this every year, though. The week one lines are always much tighter, and then you just get 1 to 2 weeks of evidence, and all of a sudden it's like Miami bad, Buffalo great.
I mean, look, this is the kind of statement that can make you look at absolutely ridiculous come Monday, when Miami actually somehow finds a way of winning this game out of nowhere. But this is setting up like the kind of game that could get people fired. Like if Miami gets absolutely annihilated on the road by Buffalo after losing to New England, given the bad vibes around the place at the moment and how bad everything looks, I mean, this is the kind of game that might be difficult to come back from.
That's the tough thing to predict sometimes, though, is the human element of it. Like, will Miami just rally?
Right.
Like, we're not that bad. Let's just rally and let's play. Let's play up.
There are games every year where you go into it and you say there is no reason why this team should win this game. Like none. And they find a way of doing it. Like there's people talk about parity in the NFL. It is real. Like it's the gap between these teams is pretty small. If the playoffs were done the way they are in other sports, where it's like a best of 7 series or whatever, I think there would be a wild difference in how these. I think you would see the week to week variance of the same teams would be insane. So yeah, as much as we say, look, in almost every simulation, Buffalo is kicking Miami's ass in this game, there's going to be a few where somehow Miami finds a way of doing it against all logic and odds, where they just have the bounce of a ball a couple of times, where they make a couple of plays, where the game script changes really early. It's possible. I just think it's very unlikely.
The chat's 80% on Buffalo to go with you, me, and 10-year-old Harry in the selections here.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?